All right, Professor.
Yes, sir.
You are the your name is Professor
Luis Rivera.
Luis Rivera, Texas A&M, and you're a professor of
Agricultural economics.
an interesting field. Give people that don't know anything about that a thumbnail.
Well, what we do is we do analysis on agriculture, agribusiness.
Step it a little bit closer.
It's agriculture, agribusiness. We do all the economic impact of the different endeavors. So let's say back in 2005 and 6, it was ethanol production. So everybody was higher ethanol production and from corn.
Right.
We did analysis on if it's feasible, is it sustainable. We do the energy input to get energy out.
From what I understand, it wasn't working. Or correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, it depends of which side. For every unit of energy that you put in, you get 1.2 out. It's 20% more. Is that worth it? Well, again, it depends. Are you a corn grower? Yes, you like it because corn prices went up. On the side of we still send about $1.25 billion a day to oil producing countries in the OPEC.
Yeah.
So is it better to support local producers or to send the money to
On the tail end, going down the road, what about the economic impacts of the environmental concerns that might come from using ethanol and the rising food prices?
Right, it's again, that's what I'm saying, it depends on which angle you take. I mean, ethanol burns more clean, it's cleaner
but it
than oil.
It destroys engines, from what I understand, so you have an economic impact on that end.
It doesn't. Brazil has been doing since the 70s. They had the pro-alcohol program in the 70s, and they had 100% ethanol cars.
Because we're branching off into something now that's more like energy production, which is a whole other field we can get into.
Right.
We can bring up Tesla technologies and and all the other hidden.
Being renewable, and energy independent.
What is your opinion on the economic impact of GMO foods?
Well, again, you have to go back. I'm an economist, so I understand what's going on. I understand the process. I have no problem with it. GMOs basically what scientists that does, but they do those things. What they tell us is that when you have natural selection, you have bees pollinating different varieties, and then when you get human trying to do the same thing, you basically have 1,000 different crosses to try to get the traits for drought tolerance, cold tolerance, or higher yielding and all that. What they're doing with GMOs now, genetically modified organisms, is basically getting an X-ray of all those traits and figure out which one is going to be which.
Yeah, but doesn't this lead into us, playing the God syndrome? In other words, we got cats that glow in the dark now. They've got insect genes that they're putting into
Cotton, BT cotton.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're changing the DNA of the food itself, and we are what we eat. So aren't we essentially changing the DNA makeup of humans themselves? We've even got chimeras now that they have admitted, half human, half cow.
Let's remember that we have done that forever.
No, we've spliced. I mean, you could take take a splice and into a different, and get a different yield.
Right.
But taking the DNA and exchanging it to a whole nother species is something brand new.
Now that is something, yes, it is brand new, and the thing what you're talking about, I guess, is the BT cotton, which is Bacillus thuringiensis, which is basically an insect type or a bacteria or something like that that you put into the cotton, so it makes it resistant to bollworm. We don't eat cotton. So
makes it resistant to what?
Bollworm.
Oh, bollworm.
It's a worm that eats the cotton. We don't eat cotton. So when we look at GMO, let's say soybeans, it's just is resistant to wheat.
But again, studies have been shown. The study they did in Copenhagen University with the rats on GMO foods, that a huge percentage, I can't remember right offhand, but it was enough to cause great alarm, of the rats that were fed a GMO diet, develop tumors.
You have to check the data on that because so far
I think I might even have it on the screen back
we
there.
haven't seen any indication of that. And recently there was a paper of thousands of scientists that they signed on Nobel Prize too. We host the you know who Norman Borlaug is?
Who?
Norman Borlaug.
Norman
He's
Borlaug.
He's the father of the Green Revolution.
Ah, okay, all right, all
In
right.
the 60s and 70s.
Right.
Basically, he basically.
I helped start the Institute for Environmental Alternatives. Professor Ron Cohn from Norfolk Institute of Technology in '72.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, Norman Borlaug basically fed the world, and one place.
To
that
what
he could,
cost? Now, here's what we're getting into another deal. You deal with your field of expertise,
Yes, sir.
economic, agricultural.
Economic agriculture. Yes.
Those two things are what tyrants have used to control the masses since the dawn of time. Economics and the food. We've got, even Kissinger said, you control the food, you control the people. And tyrants and other people that are looking to control people in government have always used economics and food to control the masses. So you deal right at, in that realm.
Right.
Have you ever heard of Agenda 21? I'll give you some information on it. Or Albert Pike's letters, of Albert Pike being the father of the Freemasons, godfather of the Freemasons. And he wrote the Albert Pike letters. I don't recommend him. The guy was a prophet, prophesied World War II and III. Told the elites how they could go ahead and control the masses and through these 3 world wars, form a 1 world government. And a lot of it would be being used by genetically modifying the food so the food would come under control of the corporation. Monsanto, let's say, which would be most obvious. So when you get fewer and fewer conglomerates controlling more and more of the food, and then everything forms into a government. The release of all these little wars, what they've done down in Central and South America, because we're a war economy, so we have the drug wars, so we create these enemies. When drugs should just be legal, and we wouldn't have to worry about it.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, let me give this, make it real short. I'm over the age of 21. Anybody who tells me what I can and cannot put into my own body is a tyrant. They can go screw themselves.
Yeah, but I have friends and family that I have to deal with drug issues and destroy their lives.
And if they were legal, they'd be easier to deal, because if they were legal, you could do this. You would say, look, this is what the drugs do to you. Here's what the drug, and if you're stupid enough to do them, there's nothing I can do to stop you. No law is going to stop you because the laws are against them and they're already in trouble with them. So if they were legal and you said this is what they do, don't do them. And if they're over 21 and they want to do them, you've done all you can. I mean, you could, plead with them, you could do everything else, but if they're over 21, if you try to stop that person from doing it, because you can't watch them 24/7, if you do, you're a tyrant.
The problem is that they start doing drugs even younger.
But again, if they were legal, we educate all the money they put into, like, the enforcement, right?
Go ahead.
All the money they put into the enforcement, they put into education. They tell the children, these are the drugs, these are the pictures of the people before they did the drugs, these are the people of the picture after they did the drugs. Here they are in the morgue after 6 months. Would you like some drugs? And they'll go, no! And then, but when they reach the age of 21, you're an adult. I can't walk around and tell you, I'm sorry, Professor, you can't drink that coffee, it'll make you jittery. You go, fuck that, get away from me, I'll drink what I want, I'm 21 years old. So don't tell me that bullshit. We're responsible for ourselves only. Our responsibility ends here, and then as far as you want to extend it, but if you extend it too far, you become a tyrant. Anyway, back to subject.
Go ahead.
Back to subject. Agenda 21. UN agenda to use the military force of the United States, the economic powerhouses that are in London and New York, to go ahead and create chaos through these brush fire wars that we do everywhere, bring in those refugees to the Western civilization. Because you can't bring down democracy if from outside they're too strong. You flood them with immigrants, overwhelm the welfare system, and you bring down those countries from the inside, thereby creating chaos, riots, economic collapse, right? Then, that's when the UN steps in with as the saviors. Here we are to save the day, right? And that's when the multinationals who have been setting this all up say, step into the FEMA camps, here's your GMO-laced food, don't worry, you'll be dead in a little while because we don't need you anyway. Look at, I'm going to give you information on it. It's Agenda 21, Rex 84 is another agenda that they pushed through. I talked to military intelligence here the other day, National Guard military intelligence, Master Sergeant. He told me the revolution is coming soon. Of the many that he's with in the military, that they're not going along with the martial law that's coming down. When the economic time comes, when the crash comes, which I assume will be around election time.
Right.
Right?
That's a topic.
Well, it's, you know, a house of cards is going to fall eventually. We're running on what? Bullshit. I mean, we're broke. Our dollars don't exist. They're digits in a computer. People are catching on to the fraud. We've overextended ourselves. We've made enemies around the world. They're going to come in and collapse us. When we go skinny, the rest of the world starves.
Yeah.
So when that chaos ensues, the ones that don't go along with it will be immediately killed. It'll make Nazi Germany purges look like a walk in the park. Let me give you some information and get out of the rain so they don't call us any more crazy than we are. But I would like you to go look this up.
I enjoy discussing this.
Oh, this is what I love to do. I mean, this is what my, people have to know these things. I have to know what you know, then you have to know what I know. It's called Agenda 21.
Here's my card.
Oh, thank you. And I'd like you to look at that. Maybe I'll email you and give you your opinion on it, you know.
Sure. And shoot me an email. Like I said, I'm on the GMO, which is the stuff that I know.
Yeah.
Nothing. There's no scientific evidence that it does anything.
Well, I'll send you some of the studies of the people I've talked to and the people I know.
Do you like squash, zucchini?
Yeah,
do you like those things? Yeah. Well, over 90% are GMO.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I shop at Whole Foods, and and even there you can't be.
You're talking about production.
I understand.
I'm talking about the
variety. No, even in Whole Foods, I know that a lot of that stuff is you can't get away because it's in the system now. It's in the system, but that's another thing. I mean, here again, let me give you one other reason why you shouldn't trust the government, or why I don't trust them with the vaccines.
I'm not saying that I trust the government, but I trust the research science.
No, I don't trust them either because they can be bought off. But let me give you
everybody can be bought off.
Yeah.
But as a scientist, nobody's going to buy me off. What I do
because you're a good one.
Well, again, what I do is just be when all the decisions that we make is science-based. Not that we think or we heard or science-based.
Then why is global warming such a hoax?
Huh? What is what?
Global warming.
It's just a normal part of more people. You know who pollutes more than any other industry in the U.S. at least. Well, other places too. Australia. It's livestock, cattle production.
Yeah, but that all of that. Equate. Now again, you're stepping in my realm. I helped start the Institute of Environmental Science. So I've done a great deal of studying on this. All of that equates to about a flea fart on a dog. I mean, it really, the whole entire atmosphere is made up of 0.04% carbon dioxide, which is recyclable through the plants. There's more carbon dioxide, we breathe the oxygen. So it's negligible. It's a very, very small trace element.
And we need it.
Oh, God, we die without it. We die without it. So the whole big hullabaloo is like, ooh, carbon dioxide, carbon taxes, right? 1956, President Dwight D. Eisenhower started the Department of Weather and Climate Modification. Dr. Ben Livingston, Lieutenant Dr. Ben Livingston, took that and ran with that project and became known as the father of weather weapons. Throughout Vietnam, from 68 to 72, we were using weather weapons in Vietnam, creating monsoons, doing everything. When the leaked out, we had weather weapons. The world became so alarmed that 1974, the UN passed the UN Weather Weapons Treaty ban. Now, they don't ban things they don't have, right? So we got them. Well, it was a toothless treaty because it's very hard to detect any weather. I mean, how do you prove someone created a drought or started a hurricane? You can't. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
So it's plausible deniability. It's very hard to prosecute. So other countries have their weather weapons. Hard technology, tectonic weapons that create earthquakes and shit. I mean, we've got them. They exist. I talked to, you can say publications. You can just look the stuff up, Google it, look it up, and there they are. In 1996, a leaked document from the Air Force, and the Air Force came out and said, weather as a force multiplier, controlling the weather by 2025. Well, we already do, but we're talking about totally manipulating, controlling the weather, creating earthquakes, monsoon, tsunamis. At will, using it. With these weather weapons documented, that we use them and we can manipulate them. Have you ever seen any of this mentioned in at Copenhagen, at Paris, or in any article going, ooh, global warming's gonna kill us? It's a scam. It's a scam to go ahead and make carbon, which most people don't know what carbon is anyway. Most people don't know what to do. The Vice President of the United States is walking around. You start talking about scientific issues, forget about it. So they're trying to make carbon the boogeyman, so they can tax it. What's the one that we all produce? We all produce carbon in one way or the other. So carbon taxing, they can tax us for the air we breathe if they go ahead and push this agenda to its ultimate degree. That's where smartphone technology and smart meter technology comes in. Because now they can track everything of your appliances you do and regulate it. You're using a little bit too much electricity, so we're going to put you back. It's all about control. Plus, here's the kicker. This is beautiful. You want to talk about a scam within a scam that just, right? The biggest funders to the global warming hoax are the oil companies, the energy companies. Why? In order to keep on pushing the global warming, they drive up the price of carbon credits that they can trade. So they're making more money on the carbon credit trading than they're doing off of their products themselves. So they're making money off of the pollution they create. And as a kicker, they're having the tree huggers work for them.
If you ask me about global warming, I'm very skeptical.
Good.
And when you look at science-based evidence in a lot of publications, but it all depends what assumption.
Which goes back to, can scientists be bought off? Because now we have a whole group, all you hear is 97% of the scientists agree with global warming, which is a bullshit statistic.
What we know is that over the last 1,000 years, the Earth has increased in temperature by about 1 degree Celsius, over a degree Fahrenheit. So we know that. We can take it to, let's say, CO2 emissions, greenhouse gases. We could, but so what? That's the problem. And so what?
Yeah, right.
You cannot.
Adapt or die.
We cannot go back to just riding bikes. We cannot go back to or not eating beef. A lot of people, you look at that, it's an issue.
As I said, so even all of that put together is a flea fart on a dog.
Even that you have, if it's proven that it is that, then we have to be able to cope with it. But it goes back to, again, science helping has to cope with more people, more demands, more use of natural resources, and it's the same thing with GMO.
But aren't those numbers going to naturally peak out? I mean, it's sort of like the lemming theory. You know, the lemmings will get to a point where they wind up just killing themselves and get back down to a controllable thing. I mean, I've looked at the overpopulation myth about, you know, how in the past we've had peaks in.
Well, but you just look at the population growth. Until
because of
1950, it's very
because
flat,
mainly of agriculture, be able to mass produce
agriculture and also medicine.
And on the flip side, just like in the 30s when we depleted the soils, haven't we already depleted the soils also? Now, I mean, I'm hearing that the erosion of the topsoils from the Midwest has got to the point where, you know, roots are beginning to take getting.
In some parts, yes, but you have to understand this. I deal with farmers all the time.
Yes,
they're good stewards of the farm. That's their livelihood, and they're in connection with it.
Right.
Now that there are bad farmers out there, of course,
sure,
everywhere. You know, but they don't want to kill the I'm trying to look for the word.
The golden goose.
The golden goose. Because that's their livelihood.
Of course.
You know, so when you look at that, and they're very proud of feeding.
I talk to them all the time out here. As I say, I get to speak to.
That's what I'm saying, you know, on the GMO part, this is just what I know because I deal with it on a daily basis.
Right.
I went to Europe last year to Amsterdam because there was a GMO conference there. And just trying to hear the scientific evidence that the European has to not approving GMO on the TTIP, the transatlantic.
Right. How do you feel about that?
Well, in general, I'm pro free trade.
But that's not free trade.
The problem is in the small letters. You know, what are we giving up?
Which I won't let us read.
So again, you know, when you look at NAFTA, I don't know what it stands for.
Oh God, hate NAFTA. Yes.
But you look at NAFTA on the number part. You know, Mexico has increased their exports to the U.S. and Canada. U.S. to both countries as well in Canada. When you look at that, you know, just from the economic growth part.
Again, part of the globalization of Agenda 21. Understanding that when the economic barriers are broken down and you start, you know, we all rise to the same level. Well, that same level is mediocrity. That same level, it destroys competition.
When you look at what's happening in Mexico, getting out of being a third world country and getting into more of a developed country. When you look at the numbers of the GDP went from a couple of $1,000 to over $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it is really hard to argue that trade and using GMO hasn't helped the economy.
At the same time, it also means that when you get into economic, you're looking at the weakness of the dollar, what's happening, you know. Did we lose your wife altogether? Go look for her. I don't want you to get. I'm sure she's just in there.
Anyways, shoot me an email.
I would love to carry this conversation. We'll send you my email.
And I enjoy. I mean, I have no problem with finding somebody to have different views.
It's neat. Well, this is how we evolve.
Discussion, you know, and we would like to learn. Always learn something new.
Indeed. Well, go to the websites I gave you. Check them out.
Precious.
I'll be happy to talk to you again.